Hi, cyber babies. It's the even more fabulous Mother Love coming to you live and in living color. Well, as opposed to coming to you dead in black and white. That's just, I don't like doing the good in black and white. I'm just saying. This handsome fellow who's joined us today is Dr. Eric J. Chambers. He is the everything man. I know you're going to tell me the story about your roots and ancestors coming from Jamaica, because you know what they say about it with Jamaicans. We work 15 jobs. You
15
got
jobs.
37 jobs. You got 37 jobs. We don't
You
put it,
only have
we don't
57
brutalize
jobs?
anything.
Yeah.
I mean, you have, because your history is so rich. Let's talk about first. You growing up in Louisiana and you knew what you wanted to do at how old?
I was about 5 years old when I first got the vision of what I wanted to do. And then there's a picture of me when I was 11 years old, pretending then what I do now. And that was pretending to be a television and radio host.
Okay, now you call it pretending or is it preparation?
Well,
You
it
just
was both.
pretending then.
It was both. It
Okay.
was both. And so I had the vision. And when I was in school, Mother Love, all the way throughout my elementary, high school, even college, I was a C student because of the fact that I had tunnel vision. I couldn't see nothing except what I wanted to do here in Hollywood. I couldn't concentrate on anything like math, and me and math never got along. Now, when it came to history and when it came to writing and stuff of that nature, that was my cup of tea. And so, but like I said, I was just so focused, and I used to sit there in my class and I would just dream, just gaze out the window, saying, one of these days I'm going to be in Hollywood. And the Navy was my ticket to Southern California from New Orleans and Slidell, Louisiana. And I've been doing my thing ever since. I came out here 42 years ago. My TV career began out at sea on board the USS Bella Wood. I was a Morse code operator. And in my downtime, I would go and do this. I was a ship sports anchor.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how my TV career began. And then shortly thereafter,
On a Navy ship.
yeah, out at sea.
You brought. Now, this is something I never knew about the Navy. I never knew that you could broadcast. I mean, we saw the USO tours and what have you. I didn't know that the Navy had capabilities of doing the news and sports from a Navy vessel. That is so cool.
Oh
So
yeah,
you were
like
steadfast in what you wanted to do.
oh yeah, like I say, my regular job was as an international Morse code operator. Da, 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 da. And I can still do that after all these years. But in my downtime, when I wasn't working in as a radioman, is what it was called. It was a communication specialist. I had a top secret security clearance, so that's what I did. But in my off time,
So you know stuff.
I did.
You know stuff. Okay.
Yeah,
See,
I even got a job
the
offer.
fact that you all can keep that to yourself is just amazing.
Well, unless you want to end up in the brig and jail
See,
somewhere. And
and thank
so,
you for your service, sir. Thank you very much for your service. I appreciate a person who is willing to put their life on the line for my bobblehead self. Yes, I do. Thank you so much for having to been willing to sacrifice your life. And look what you did with your life off that battleship. So what was it like when you got back on land? How did you stay in tune?
well, we were the longest I was ever out at sea was like 37 days straight. That's the longest. There's some ships that stay out even longer. So we were blessed. And I actually met my ship in Africa. It was in Somalia.
Mm-hmm.
And that one of the two places that I wanted to visit when I was in the Navy, when I joined the Navy, I should say, I wanted to go to the motherland or the Holy Land. I never made it to the Holy Land, but I made it to the motherland. And ironically, Africa was not even on the agenda when the ship took off from San Diego, but they added it out at sea. And I was so blessed by that. So, I've been around, I joined the Navy at 19 years old. And by the time I was 21, I had traveled 3/4 around the world twice.
Isn't that something? You said you'd been to Somalia. What was that experience like? Because what we see over here, is that they're all eating dirt. All kind of crazy stuff. What was that experience like for you?
Well, the experience going to Somalia was awesome. Like when you're a young fella in the Navy, you want to go to the ports where all the beautiful women are, the Philippines, Singapore. You want to go to those places. But for me, the night before we arrived in, I had already gone to the Philippines. Diego Garcia, that's a small little island out
Oh,
in the
God,
middle
wait,
of the.
wait, just let me just throw this here because I just want to, commune with you for a moment. When I was
Okay.
first got to California, was on the radio and I was on at night, and people would call me, and we would just have a good time. Well, one of the people that was listening, I called him my radio, I still call him my radio babies. He said that he was going to Diego Garcia to test a fighter jet. I got one of the military people flying a gajillion-dollar vessel, and he thought about me because I always ask people to send me dirt from wherever you go, so I have a little piece of everything. And this guy, don't tell on the mother. He brought me back some sand from Diego Garcia. I still have it.
Well, Diego Garcia, believe it or not, it is out in the what they call the BIOT, which is British Indian Ocean Territory. It's a small little island out there. You can't even hardly see it on the map, but it's a tropical island.
Mhm.
Most of the people do not want to get stationed at Diego Garcia because at the time there were no, it was all guys, and the
Mhm.
only women on board were domestic from usually
Mhm.
the Philippines, something like that. But you know what? I was even inclined like if this is where my radio career started, I would have been at total peace on that island because all I wanted to do was what I do. And
Mhm.
I remember going to a radio station there, our military radio station there, and I was like, man, I could be here even isolated from everybody.
Oh yeah.
And if I would have been, if the Navy would have allowed me to be a journalist, there's a good chance that I would still be in the Navy 42 years later because
Wait a
I'm
minute.
blessed that
Wait,
my
wait.
career
Let
is
me back
also my
up, sir.
hobby.
You said, wait a minute. I didn't mean to cut you off, but you said when you knew that you could be. Why were you not a naval
Well, when
journalist? I
when I
mean, aren't
joined,
these skills?
well, this is the thing. When you join the Navy, and especially when you're black, they don't like to give you the choice assignments. I was not a journalist in the Navy. I did that in my downtime.
Hmm.
I was a radioman. And then a lot of times people go into the military with an undeclared occupation,
Hmm.
and like I did. And then so I ended up becoming a radioman because it brought me to San Diego. I went to boot camp in Orlando.
Hmm.
It brought me to San Diego, and I went to International Morse Code School after radioman school. Then check this out. Usually, after you did radioman A school, you did not want to do Morse Code School. Me and one of my buddies, Reginald Lawyer, while everybody was running from Morse Code School, me and him ran to it and say, "Here I am, send me, I'll go."
Oh, see,
And
see, and I know where that one came from because your hand went up real easy. Send me, I'll go. And see, when I got into that spot right there, and in church, no doubt. Speaking of church, we church brothers and sisters. We had the same pastor, Bishop Charles E. Blake
oh, that's
and
right,
Lady
that's
Mae
right.
Blake.
Absolutely, those are my peeps. The
Them was our peeps.
I
Man,
know.
I can't wait to go to church to hear the new pastor priest, the new guy. Okay, it's his son.
Yeah,
No,
check.
that's it. He's been ready for that. So, okay, I didn't know what was happening. I thought I heard thunder.
No, Oh, okay. No, I'm
Okay,
looking at some of the comments when I
you
give
know.
a shout
Oh
out
wait, where do you see him at? Okay, wait. Oh,
on
hey,
the
are
right
they
hand
here?
side.
Oh, hey, oh, you got him all right. We want to say, what's her name? Jatoy Sailor. Thank you for
Jatoy.
your service, Chambers. And- or
Hi, Jatoy.
Horacia. I done messed
Horacio
that child name
McCurtis.
up. You,
Horacio is one of Dr. Horacio McCurtis. I just met her 2 weeks ago at our family reunion. She's one of my cousins that I met at the reunion down in Gulfport, Mississippi, 2 weeks ago.
and you didn't know her. You all didn't know each other at all.
No, we didn't. We're from the same Jordan or Jordan family tree. My
Mm-hmm.
great grandmother, her name was Kizzy Jordan, like Michael Jordan. Michael them say
Mm-hmm.
Jordan, but my mom and them say Michael Jordan. And
Okay,
so, and my granddaddy was a Jordan. My mama was a Jordan. And I'm actually a Jordan. I'm more of a Jordan than I am a Chambers. Chambers is a
really.
borrowed name.
See,
Yeah.
that's why it's so important for us to stay connected so we know who our people are. We love most of them. Man, some of them, the only reason why you talk to them is because you related to them. And you just have to, bite the bullet like, oh, here come Uncle June. Has he bathed this week? Baby, come over here and hug Uncle June. I'm like, no, I just got my hair did. I don't want that smell on me. It was like, get her out the room. Somebody, hey, cuz, that's what Dr. Chambers said. Hi, Miss Beck Curtis. Okay, so back to the story.
Yeah, but where were we? We were talking about.
See, we're talking about your Navy career, and they wouldn't allow you, wouldn't give
Oh
you the
yeah, yeah.
opportunity to
So
become a naval journalist.
especially as a journalist, that was almost, I mean, it took exceptional, not even skills, but favor to go in as a journalist. Because most of the time they want you to go in as a deckhand and stuff of that nature. But the closest thing that I thought would be to it would be as a radioman. And the interesting thing is, when I was a radioman, this is back long before, say, for instance, emails and all of that stuff. So I had to do teletype. I used to type about 60 something words a minute. And so, yeah. And then even when I did Morse code, I used to have to type and, send and receive. And so what happened was, because of the fact that I worked in radio in the communications department, that's where all of the Associated Press and UPI information came. Then we had to give it to the people at CCTV. So it was the best of both worlds. They had me as their direct contact, where I would get them like the scores of the football games and stuff. And so, and I remember one time we were out at sea, and I was doing the sports, and the first time I did it actually, and I had such flavor when I was doing it. The not the CEO, but the XO, the executive officer of the ship, we're down in berthing because we were pre-recorded, so we're down in the berthing area, and he calls for Petty Officer Chambers. I think I was a petty officer at the time. He called for me, and so they said, "Oh, Chambers, the XO wants you on the phone." And this is the white guy, the XO. And he was like, "Good job." He said, "I want to see you more." And man, that did wonders for me because, like I said, I was not even in that field, but to have the XO of this big old ship call down into our berthing area where we lived to tell me, "Great job." It's just those simple things like that that propelled me. And so what happened is, when I got out of the Navy, actually, I was still in my Navy uniform. I went to KGTV, the ABC affiliate in San Diego. I went there on my lunch break in my Navy whites and applied for a job. And the guy, it was one of my guys who used to go to church with me. I just showed up at the station, and I saw him in the cafeteria. And this is one of the few brothers that's helped along the way. There's a line of people there to get their food. And this guy named Rodney, he comes from behind the counter where he's helping people to walk me to the news director's office. And I was so blessed by that. And then the news director told me, "Okay, when it get close to your time getting out, come back." And about a month or so later, I got a call from a lady named Shirley Walk. And I just saw Shirley a year ago. She's like 99 years old now.
How about that?
And I told Shirley when I saw her last year for the first time in over 30 years, I said, "Shirley," and this is a white lady too. And I said, "Shirley, thank you for giving me the opportunity." Because I worked in the mailroom. I did that for 6 months. 5 months in the mailroom, and I said, "Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity." And she just said she just knew that one day I would, have a blossoming career, because look, all the other guys who were messengers, they would walk around slinging mail. They would be like in shorts and t-shirts. I was dressed in a suit.
Oh, so you stood out. That obviously is your modus operandi, and you don't have to try that hard because you never know who's watching you. You never know what somebody sees in you. I'm dumbfounded by it. That's why I have to stay as focused as I can, because you can veer off the path in this business. This is not for wimps, wusses, and chumps. You better have armadillo skin and have and and a strong faith. You got to have a team. Because we can't do this by ourselves. And as you get more successful, did you see your team shrinking or your team growing?
Well, believe it or not, Mother Love, most of my career has been without a team.
Oh.
When I was on the Word Network, I was on the Word Network 9 years, national TV, 9 years, 137 episodes. And I did about 100 of those 137 episodes as a one-man band. So what happened is, that like the Emmys and Golden Mics and stuff that I have, that's as an editor and a producer when I worked at KGTV and CBS. So I already knew how to put a show together.
Okay, wait a minute. Just since you just want to gloss over the fact that you got 9 awards, you got 5 Emmy awards and 4 Golden Michael. That's 9 things hanging on up. And I put the picture you would holding up 4 of them.
I know it.
Okay, I said this because you are a rock star,
Well,
and
thank you.
I mean, you have such a great reputation from what I've heard of, and what I've seen up close and personal, where we've been together and doing different things through the years, and the fact that you keep going. I mean, now you really didn't have a choice from the time you were 5, and by the time you got to 11, you probably was like, okay, God, okay. When did you know that it was going to be important to you and to your well-being and to your mental health well-being that faith became an anchor for you?
When did I know that faith was needed to be an anchor?
Yes.
From day one.
Mhm.
Look, I was a sanctifist, sanctified and Baptist. My grandmother was sanctified, and my granddaddy.
Wait, y'all have just made up a word, and people know what it is too, right?
Yeah, because
Okay.
look, I used to have to go to with my granddaddy. I would go to the Baptist church with him, and my grandmother was sanctified, so I would go to Church of God in Christ with her. And so those were the things that I did. And so as a result, I was able to, that's where the faith came in. And then also, look, all those years that we go to church, all those years that we go to gospel concerts and events like that, you prepare for war in a time of peace. And so the Lord was preparing me even back then. And so I just stayed the course. One of my favorite books is right here by my side. This book here is torn, it's tattered, but it's been applied. It's called How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Influence People by Dale Carnegie.
This is my all-time favorite book right here because it not only tells you how to deal with people efficiently and effectively, but it also shows you how to network and keep the faith. And so I love that book. And when I just went home to Louisiana a couple of weeks ago, it was one of the few times over the past 30 years I didn't take that book with me. I took another one with me called The Personal MBA, because now that I'm doing the nonprofit thing, I'm learning more from the business standpoint. But that book right there, I could tell you the pages of certain things in that book. I've read it at least a couple hundred times.
And do you always find something new and different when you read it again?
Not really. What I do is I will just use it and I'll reapply it
Okay.
as a reminder.
As your reference.
Exactly. As a reference.
And for those of you who are in business or who are independent business owners, it's good to be able to have that kind of information available to us so we don't have to fail. Sure, it's going to be a hard work. I remember when I told my mother and my family I was going to be in the entertainment industry. Well, I didn't know that's what it was, back then. I didn't even pay attention to it. And so my mother used to always say, get your Betty Davis behind her. I didn't know who the heck Betty Davis was. I didn't know what that was about. And, she would ask, when she came to visit me, she said, so baby, this is what you're doing. This is what you came to California to do. You done talk these white people into paying you this kind of money to run your mouth. I said, no, mother, I'm a talk show host. So you done con these people all the way to California to pay you to run your mouth. I'm like, and I couldn't get her to understand what that was because she was like, do they know you're going to run your mouth anyway? Do you know they even know we had to ban you from family stuff and that you see all the stuff around us and you make it a comedy routine? And when I came out here, it was, and it's all been on the fluke. It's not really a fluke. God was preparing me to do this, and I had so much doubt. I'm like, okay, I don't understand what the heck is going on. God, I know you're on trip, but why am I tripping and listening to this conversation? Why am I I'm trying to talk God out of sending me. And then he said, and I was like, no. I said, well, why would you send me? And he said, why not you?
That's right. You were the chosen one.
Okay, but some people are made for this. I'm not, me and my husband been together for 52 years. And
Wow.
that's a hard 52, let me tell you. So understand.
Okay. But y'all still the so, and he's
If
still
he
the
wasn't fine,
executive partner.
let me just tell you the truth. If he wasn't fine and he was, I mean, he is the best packer like in the whole. Get y'all mind out the gut. That's my husband. I can talk about him like that. I'm talking about packing up the houses.
Everybody ain't able, mother love.
I know it's a skill set.
Yep.
When we were talking earlier, and people think that what we do is just so easy to do, and we make it look good. Listen, if I was on a basketball court, and because Brian James, he make basketball look like nothing. I mean, he make it look like, the man put in the work. He makes it
Absolutely.
look effortless. He's a
Absolutely.
professional. If I put that dude right here in this seat right now, right here in the talk show seat, I don't know what he would do, because he really does well on interviews, but he would not be the trained one.
Well,
And
this is the
so,
thing, mother love. There have been people. I was talking to a couple of young ladies, maybe about a year ago, and they were talking about they wanted to do a show on relationships. And I told them, because people see what I do, just like you said, they see what you do, and we make it look easy.
mhm.
And you said there's a certain science to it. And I told them, look, everybody has an opinion, but it doesn't always mean that it's the facts. And so what you have to do also is sometimes you're going to have a variance of opinions, and how do you navigate that when you got somebody who doesn't agree with what you're saying?
Mhm.
One of the things that I do is I said, okay, just like when I was when the pandemic started, I was taking a class on essay writing, and I love
Mhm.
that class because it talks about how you make your statement, your thesis statement, for instance, and then now you got to come up with the facts. You got to come up with corroborating information.
Mhm.
And then not only that, but you also need to come up with some expert testimony or quotes about it.
Mhm.
And so I tell people we make it look easy, and see when people like both of my radio shows, like I got a show that airs tonight at 6 o'clock, and then my Jaspel show, which is 30 years old, airs on Saturdays. And the thing
At what
about it,
time? Or is it a streaming feed?
no, it's on KCAA 1050
Okay.
AM, 106.5 FM out in the Inland Empire.
Okay.
It has a reach of close to 5 million people have access to it over the
Cool.
air. It's AM, FM, and then it's also streamed on, over the internet as well and apps. But as I was telling those young ladies, I said it's much more to it than meets the eye. How to get in and out of breaks, stop sets, stuff of that nature, how to tease stuff,
Mhm.
how to ask pertinent questions of your audience. Don't ask closed in questions, stuff of that nature. So there's a lot more to it than meets the eye. And so, but we're living in an age right now, Mother Love, where whosoever will let him come who has a camera or a microphone, and they think automatically I'm a reporter. There's also certain things that as a reporter, as a journalist, that you can do and you can't do. And then also as a reporter, one of the things that I'll give you an example. I was publishing my magazine. It's called the Jaspel Journal magazine. I published about six editions of it, and I had Juanita Bynum as a part of a montage on one of the covers.
Okay.
And so Juanita called me personally, want to know if she could write for my magazine. And on top of that, she wanted to know, her and her assistant want to know if they could read the story before I publish it.
Mhm.
And I asked them, would you ask Oprah magazine that? Would you ask Time? Would you ask People magazine? Could you do it? Then don't ask me that. I'm not your publicist. I'm a journalist.
Right. And this is what
And
you
that's
do
what
for
people
grits
have
and
to understand.
groceries.
Now, somebody else with lesser experience would likely say, oh, okay, here, I'm just glad to have you there. Oh, no. My wall is filled with all kinds of people that I've interviewed. You're not the biggest fish that I've ever interviewed.
Okay, I'm
And
like more than 3,000
celebrities,
interviews
yep.
and conversations have you had, from the red carpet to these big giant events, to having these big giant events. Let's talk about one of your big giant events, and where did your passion come from to even start the museums, and what do you want to do with them? You have the Tubman and Tillman Museum.
Actually, it's a Tubman Till, Till.
Oh, Tubman Till is one word.
Yeah,
Okay.
Tubman, as in Harriet Tubman, and then Till,
For Emmett,
Till.
for Emmett
Harriet
Till.
Tubman is my all-time favorite shero. I love her because she kept coming back for us.
Uh,
And then Mrs. Mamie Till Mobley, Emmett Till's mother, was my modern day shero. And I loved her dearly. She was a surrogate grandmother to me, and I'm blessed that I even spoke at her funeral. But I hosted her in San Diego back in 2000. I executive produced a play called The State of Mississippi versus Emmett Till. And
mm.
as a result, over the, those last 2.5, 3 years of her life, we became very close, where I would call her up or she would call me up and we'd have an hour or 2 hour conversations on the phone. And so that particular week in San Diego, I captured it on audio, video, still pics. And I decided, you know what, I need to memorialize this. And so that's when the Lord really gave me this vision several years ago. And finally, this past January, I decided to finally make it happen. And we did the launch at the Richard Nixon Presidential Library. Don Lewis was there, Willard Pugh, Harpo from The Color Purple. We had Roger from What's Happening, my man Ernest Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
And so they went into my Tubman Till Foundation Icon Hall of Fame. And so they helped me kickstart it at a presidential museum. And so now we're in the process of, I'm still promoting and campaigning to get more funds for it, because I want to open up the museum. I'm opening up the museum.
I was
Here in North
just
Orange
getting ready to
County.
say, I'm hoping. You don't do hope. You don't do
No,
if. You don't do
no,
maybe.
we will
You,
be.
that doesn't work for you. Yours is, look, I'm gonna come up with this, and this is what we gonna do. This is what we gonna make this happen. Because one
Absolutely.
of the things that you had said that came to the realization, I believe this was in the Navy, and we're going back just a few sentences when you were saying that you were not allowed the opportunity to even become a naval journalist. And what did you realize when, for 7.5 years, you kept being overlooked?
Oh, that's actually that's going to be the precipice of my book. That's called "Haven't We Been Down This Road Before?" For 7.5
Wait,
years,
I like the title.
yeah, haven't. That's my memoir. Haven't we been down this road before? So for you did your homework, mother love. And you
I
showing your
told you
work
we
right now.
I
So
told you we make this look easy.
that's right. Well, what happened was I was at the ABC affiliate. Remember, I told you the story. I
Mm-hmm,
went there in my
mm-hmm,
Navy uniform. So I had been there for 7.5 years. And for 7.5 years, I applied for the minority trainee reporter position.
mm-hmm,
And for 7.5 years, I was denied the position. And so what happened was, in the last year I was there, um, I remember asking the news director, I sent him an email and I said, Paul, when am I going to get my shot? I've been here for all these years helping this station become number one. When am I going to get my opportunity? And he sent me an email back and he said, Eric, haven't we been down this road
Ain't
before?
that, see, I just,
But you know what? That was one of the best things he's ever done for me. Him saying no opened up a world of opportunity. So instead of me in San Diego doing the cat caught in a tree story, I created, instead of me doing the cat caught in a tree, I ended up creating my own national TV show where I'm following Senator Barack Obama, covering it right there in San Diego on my own national television
how
program.
about that part?
And so sometimes no is it's a
Is it
beautiful thing. So I thank God for Paul for saying no. Because he said no, I ended up not being a reporter in San Diego doing homicides and all that kind of stuff and the cats caught in a tree. And I ended up creating my own show. 9 years, 137 plus episodes. And I was on the Word Network nationally for, like, I think 462 straight weeks. And when you got people like Aretha Franklin and Natalie Cole telling you that they're a fan of your show, and Rick Warren, the author of The Purpose Driven Life, Arsenio, the first time I met Arsenio, he was like, not only do I know who you are, but I've been to your website and I want to get one of those t-shirts. And I'm thinking,
okay?
Arsenio knows who I am. And he's
Isn't it
on my
amazing?
website.
Have you ever been starstruck?
Once. And I'll tell you who it was. It was my man, Morgan Freeman.
Mm,
And it's not that I was starstruck,
mm,
but as I told him, I said it was like, because I was going to be going to he's like one of my favorite actors.
mm-hmm.
And I've interviewed, pretty much
Everybody.
most of Black Hollywood. But Morgan Freeman was one of those who was kind of evasive. I was never invited to something that he was at.
Okay.
And so he was doing Olympus Has Fallen.
Okay.
That's what he was doing, that movie with Angela Bassett,
Mm-hmm.
Gerard Butler. And so they did a press conference instead of one-on-one interviews.
Mm-hmm.
And they told us after, they told everybody, no pictures, no individual this or that, excuse me, afterwards, right? As we're leaving the press conference, I'd interviewed Angela Bassett before, but as we're leaving the press conference, I see Morgan just standing there by the door with his manager. And I said, I know the Lord says that the Bible says obedience is better than sacrifice, but I may not get
Well,
this opportunity again. And so I went up to him, Mother Love, and I said, Hi, Morgan. I said, I'm Eric J. Chambers. And I said, in the movie, The Bucket List, your name was Carter Chambers. So it's kind of like you were my dad in that movie.
now that's an opening line. That's an original opening line.
And he got a chuckle out of that. And I said, it would make my day if I got a picture with you. And he was like, sure. And his manager took that picture that I have up there right now
How
of me
about
and
that?
Morgan.
That is so
And,
cool. I
and then I
remember
also
meeting him.
told him this. I said, last night felt like Christmas Eve in my career.
Oh
Because I
wow!
felt like
Now
I'm
that's
finally,
I'll be walking with that one. Last night was like Christmas Eve. Oh, in your
it
career.
was because the next day is like, I was like a child who's going to wake up the next morning and I'm going to meet, one of my heroes, right? And then one of my most favorite interviews was with Beyonce.
Uh,
Beyonce invited me. I got their
you
picture up there too. They actually invited me. She invited me in their dressing room.
no,
A,
oh,
a
that's
friend.
some big doings right there.
Well, I first met her on the set of Soul Train when she was about 19, when it was the four of them,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Oh, Destiny's Child.
yes, Destiny's Child. And then also what happened was I ended up seeing them at the BET Celebration of Gospel, and a
Mm-hmm.
friend of mine was working as their publicist just that one night. And so she said, Eric, after they interview with Access Hollywood, Entertainment Tonight, and some of these others, I'll see if I can get you a one-on-one. And I'm like, yeah, right. I'm thinking, I wasn't doing TV at the time. I was just doing radio.
Mm-hmm.
And she gave me the head nod. And so we go out. This is at the Wilshire Ebell. So we're standing up on this balcony and it's chilly outside.
Mm-hmm.
And Beyonce calls me by name. She remembered me. She was like, Eric, it's cold out here. If you don't mind a few clothes hanging up, you can come into our dressing room. I was like, girl, bet I'm in there.
Okay.
And so me and the children, Destiny's Child, I'm on the golf cart riding a block away to their dressing room with them. And we get in there, we do the interview, and I had them cracking up.
Oh no.
I tell people, look, they're just plain old peeps. And so when it was time to get back to the music, instead of me saying, now here's some music from Destiny's Child, I said, it's time to get back to the music. Here's one from the children on the Jasper with Eric J. And Beyonce fell out laughing. She's like, I love that. So I didn't say, here's Destiny's Child. I said,
You
here's
said
one
here's the
from the
children.
children. And then also interviewing another one of my heroes I have up there is Don Cornelius.
God
Now
rest
Don
his
was my
soul. Oh, God rest his soul.
yeah, Don. I used to pretend to be Don when I was growing up in Louisiana on Soul Train, and to have a couple of interviews with him and pictures of it. And ironically, again, that's where I met the children at
Wait a
Soul.
minute. Can you do his salutations? Because it's gonna be a stone gas.
No, he'll say something like, "It's a big and everybody's shown enough digging a groove that makes you want to move kind of smooth."
I
This,
knew you could do it. And what a lovely spirit. He treated me like he had been knowing me all my life. And then when I first met him at the African American Museum over there, and we were just walking across the street and walking across the parking lot, and he said, "Hey, Mother Love," and I was like, "Ain't that Don Cornelius?" I'm like, and my husband said, "Can you get you done saw like a being?" I'm like, "That's Don Cornelius." Don Cornelius. And I have always been just really shocked at the many people, because you never know who's watching you. You never know who's listening to you. You never know what kind of an impact you're going to have on a person's life. And when they come up to you and they say to you, "You made a difference in my life," what does that do for your spirit? What does that do for your psyche, and the energy that you put out into the world?
Well, it's a blessing because what you try to do is make
There you go with that word try. I'm gonna get the try drop $5
I
every
mean,
time you say try, wanna, maybe, woulda,
I mean,
shoulda,
but
coulda.
you don't know who's watching, so you're just trying to make a positive impact in the lives of the people.
Mhm.
One of the things that I've never usually do on my show, I don't follow like housewife shows and stuff of that nature, the reality shows. I may interview some of the people, but not so much about them, about
Mhm.
the shows and stuff.
Mhm.
But usually, like Rick James, Tina Marie, those are a couple of the favorites that I interviewed, talking to them about their faith walk.
Mhm.
It's a whole bunch of them that I've interviewed from that standpoint,
Mhm.
and behind the scenes. And I'm gonna tell you, one of my all-time favorite interviews ever. Beyonce was probably the nicest, but one of my all-time favorites, right there neck and neck, was with Suge Knight.
Okay, now
I
we got to hear this story. We got to hear. See,
I
you
I
you
live
can
here in
see
Orange
you
County.
can see through people. You can feel their souls.
Look, I live here in Orange County, which is predominantly white,
Right?
and I
We are.
was at the Brea Mall
That's in a
one
high
day.
rent district for all of y'all that don't live in California, don't understand Orange County. It's a real up the suburb, and they think, well, everybody assumes everybody that lives in Orange County is like filthy rich. So,
Well, but this is the thing. I was at the in 2013. I'm at the Brea Mall,
uh-huh,
and which is about 5 miles from here. And I see this big guy. I said from a distance, and it was right there by Urban Outfitters. I'm like, that looks like Suge Knight. And I go over, and I say, "Hey, Suge." And I said, "What you doing in my hood?" I'm predominantly white area, and that cracked him up.
uh,
And I gave him dap, and he was with his wife and his kid.
uh,
And I was like, "What you doing in my hood?"
okay.
And so we laughed it off, and I introduced myself, and I told him I was in the process of writing a book called Dining with the Ancestors, where I asked a bunch of celebs if they could dine with anyone from history, who would it be? A year later, I'm at the Beverly Hills Hotel having a meeting with a sister who's a publicist out of Dubai.
Hmm.
And we were talking about how she was going to bring me to Dubai with my book. And
Hmm.
she was like, if you can get like a Denzel or Samuel, one of these people that you interviewed in the book to come, we'll fly you first class, put you in a 5-star hotel, all of that stuff. So my back is to the door.
Hmm.
She looks up and she sees Suge passing by. And she said, that looked like Suge Knight. And I turned around. I was like, oh, that is him. I said, he was real cool. She was like, well, I'm going to leave because he has a tendency to draw up trouble. She packed up her stuff and bounced, got out of there. For real, for real. I waited for about 45 minutes in the lobby, hoping he'd come back in. He
Hmm.
didn't. So I've been to the Beverly Hills Hotel so many times, I know how to get around the back. I go around the maze. Look, I go around the back. I go around the back maze. you know, and behold, there's a Suge Knight out there smoking a joint with some Arab-looking dudes, right? And I go up to him, I say, hey, Suge, Eric J. Chambers, remember we met at the Brea Mall? He was like, yeah, man, I remember like it was yesterday. How's your project coming along? I said, actually, it's coming along well. I said, who would Suge Knight want to dine with? And first he told me Malcolm X. And then I said, I'm going to give you an example. Gladys Knight told me she would want to dine with her late mother, Dr. Maya Angelou, and Dr. King, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who she said was her cousin. He was like, really? And next thing you know, mother, he tells me, come on in. So here I am in a private suite. Suge, his wife, and his kid, they're in there in a private dining area eating. And so I'm in there for like 45 minutes with him, laughing, joking, fist bumping. Suge has on this bib because he's eating these big old crab legs. His wife has a steak. His kid has a pizza. And when I told him that Mrs. Mamie Till Mobley was my surrogate grandmother, and I showed him pictures of with me and her, and also with Sister Rosa Parks, who was my friend, he was like a little bitty child. And the next thing you know, we were talking and laughing. I mean, because his hands had butter on them, we had to fist bump like that and each other dap. And I was like, Suge, you should let me do an interview with you so that people can see this side of you. He was like, okay,
Yeah.
do it. And he said, you still have my number. I'm still in awe that I have Suge Knight's cell phone number in my phone. And so I look at my phone, and I'm looking at the phone. He's like, yeah, that's still lit, but the police took my phone in Vegas over the weekend, but I should have it back on Tuesday. And I was like, okay, well, it was November 2014. And I said, I tell you what, after the holiday season, I'll give you a call. because I want to set this up so that people can see the side that I've seen of you twice.
Mm-hmm.
And about a month and a half later, he got into the trouble that he's in now,
Mm-hmm.
where the person on the set of Straight Outta Compton, where the guy got, killed because he backed up over him or ran over him or something like that. But people are in shock when I tell them that Suge is one of my all-time favorites, and one of my least favorites also shock people, and that happens to be Kirk Franklin. So from one end of the spectrum to the other end,
So
I'll dine with Kirk. I'll dine with Suge all day.
Wait a minute. What didn't rub you the right way when you said he was your least favorite?
Well, Kirk, as I told Fred Hammond, I said, some of your people in the industry have what I call divine dementia. They remember you when they want to remember you, And so, look.
Wait a minute.
I'm just a country boy from Louisiana.
You can say what you want. Look. Okay, you don't think I'm not gonna walk with this one. I tell people all the time. They go, "You are so clever." I say, "I'm clever," but I also I learn something.
Well, I was on my show. I had Pastor Sandra Crouch and Fred Hammond on a couple years ago, and Fred fell out when I told him that. But I said, you know how some of you people are, bro. They have that divine dementia. They remember you when they want to remember you.
It's funny the first time you said it. It's even funnier now, and it's so apropos.
Mother love, look, I don't owe them. They don't owe me, so I can speak truth to power.
See.
And look,
and they can't fire us. They can't fire us.
Well, one time I
build our own space.
One time I'm shooting Kirk Franklin's electronic press kit. We're in a studio, just me, Kirk, and a white guy who's an engineer, just the three of us. Mm-hmm. But every time I still have to reintroduce myself to him, and I've known Kirk since '94. And then I remember in 2011, we were at an event at West Angeles and we were on our way to the car. He was like, man, I'll be watching your show. I was like, Negro, I know you do. But again, divine dementia. What you see is what you get with me. Just like even when I see Beyonce, when I see my man Suge Knight, any of the people, Arsenio, all these people, I am who I am. And I'm going to tell you one of the best compliments that I've ever gotten. My book, my first of my 7 books, this one right here is called The Love I Have for You.
About your daughter.
About my daughter, goodness. Erica. And you see on the back of it is Rick Warren, the author of The Purpose-Driven Life, who
with you.
He was a fan of my show. And so I was doing a book signing in Temecula in 2007, I believe. Mm-hmm. And one of the sisters from my from my home church in San Diego was going to this church in Temecula. And this is the height of my TV show on the Word Network. And she said, Eric, you know what I love about you? She said, when you come back around us, you're the same old Eric. And it gives me chills when I think about it. And I said, girl, you better come here and hug my neck.
I got one like that, and we're very physical people. I mean, when the pandemic hit, I did not. The biggest thing that I missed was being able to fellowship with people, be outside and have a meal with them. I couldn't hug them. I could not even hug our grandchildren without them being sprayed. I called my husband the COVID-19 sentinel because you would have thought, he was like, oh, this is it. You got to stand 6 feet away from her. You got to get mass sprayed. Now, he would have, we got 4 grandchildren. He'd have them lined up before they come in the door. They got to assume the position. It's not this, it's this. And he would just Lysol them all down. Turn around, let me Lysol you down. Put the booties on, okay? Get your chair. And he literally had 6-foot markers away from me. These are our grandchildren.
Social distancing, yep.
It was so hard to not be able to touch another human being, And I learned a lot about myself in my privacy, because people still got to do their lives and do what they need to do. And it was hard for me because I have a compromised immune system and I don't want to be around a bunch of germ-laden people. And children ain't nothing but walking petri dishes. They touch everything.
No. I'll drink to that too.
You coming in, they think your hand at the end of your dress is their personal tissue. I know it. I went into a meeting one time where our son, he must have been about 2 or 3 years old, and he could speak well, and he could talk well, and he could walk. And so he's giving me a hug, and I'm going into one of my like first big power meetings, like with the big muckety mucks, do the thing. I'm dressed to the nines. I turn around and I have a sucker stuck to my back.
You were all night sucker that night,
I
huh?
was an all day sucker. Wait a minute, then we couldn't get it off, and I didn't want to make a mess of it because it was one of them fancy. I was like, Lord, you can't beat the child. You can't beat the child. He was trying to throw it out the window. I found it and it stuck to my back because I didn't.
Wow.
And the guy that was interviewing me, he said, Mother Love, there's a sucker on your back. I was like, yeah, I'm trying to tell y'all there's a sucker on my back, and I'm trying to get this sucker off of me. You can help me. He was like, no, a lollipop sucker.
That's funny.
I'm glad you find humor in my pain. So tell us about the books about your daughter. I love the titles. What besides her inspiring you, what made you say, I want to put this in a book series?
Well, what happened? The Love I Have for You. This is my first book, and the one that I'm working on now, my seventh, is called "Stop Shacking with Your Vision and Marry It."
Oh!
7 essential reasons to put a ring on it. And so I'm doing the last editing of that, and that is going to be coming out here soon. And I'm, prayerfully that will inspire others, just like, people who've been shacking with their visions. They got 1 foot in, 1 foot out. As I write in the book, I was a child groom at 5 years old when and then I got my first job in this industry at 13.
Mm-hmm.
So I married the vision at an early age, just like LeBron James married the vision when he was just a little kid. But you have so many people who have distractions that distract them from their visions. As I told you earlier, I put the blinders on. I couldn't see nothing but Hollywood. All the other stuff, it was gibberish.
Was it white noise to you? And was like, okay, I don't need to be focused on this. This is what I'm focused on.
Some.
This is me going through my gauntlet, and I'm going to go through this. And you don't look to the right and see the good people, look to the left and see bad people, and vice versa. When you are not prepared yourself, the universe could see all your BS. You can say, well, talk all pretty and, make it look good. But, you put lipstick on a pig, it's still lipstick. It's still a pig. So right. You have to decide. And when you said, stop shacking up with your vision.
Stop shacking with your vision and marry it.
And that's a huge commitment. I mean, we see the divorce rate is so high in this country. We also see so many people's visions not being realized because they're too scared.
Well, there's a chapter in the book. There's a chapter in the book, Mother Love, called "The Ghosts at the Grave." And basically what that's saying is when they're luring you into that grave, I don't want 10 ghosts around the grave saying, why did you orphan us? Why did you orphan us? I was a vision that could have made millions for your family. I was a vision that could have saved lives because of some invention. But here we are standing here orphaned as ghosts at the grave. So that's the thing about it, is to inspire people. Look, we're not going to be able to do everything, but you should do something.
And you got to do something for yourself. I used to feel, well, no, I didn't. I didn't feel I was being selfish or anything like that. I thought one of my nephews, all of them are my favorites, but one of my nephews, we were down there visiting them, and he comes to pick us up from the airport. And so we get in the car, and when I ride with 2 men in the car, I ride in the back. Because I'm used to riding in the back, because I'm used to being carted around, so I don't know why everybody be tripping. I drove a bus for 5.5 years. If I never had to get on a TV show. I used to couldn't understand why older women didn't wear brassieres out in public. I got it. I got it, sisters. I got it, my seasoned sisters. Because if I didn't have to wear one, I would not put one on. And I was asking this one lady, she said, baby, it's just too much activity. They're going to fall down anyway. So just do your thing. And I was like, if I have on what you want to have on, and I'm at the edge, I don't like stuff touching me too much. Like clothes and stuff, right. Not people. But I'm like, ooh, that's too tight. Ooh. Before I thought it was cute, now it could be very painful. So yep. I'm going through this, through this prime. Ooh, I got one. Ask me this, Dr. Eric. Ask me, Mother Love, when did you get old?
Mother Love, when did you get old?
Tomorrow. I ain't got time for that crap today. I got things to do.
I know that's right. I know that's
And
right.
every day you wake up like the cereal snap, crackle, pop, stand, step, go down slow, come up, don't come up fast because I get a little dizzy.
Absolutely. But just
I
quick
remember I
when you
told
were
my
asking
mother
the
that she used to call me dizzy all the time. And what I thought was dizzy when you roll around, run around, and you get that. She said, "No, honey, you dizzy all the time." So I remember I must have been about 15, and all my friends were potheads. And I said, "Oh, I think I want to do drugs." My mother went, "Well, how would you know when you're high?"
yeah.
I was like, see, that's what I said. Well, what do you mean? How do you own some kind of something in the universe? You don't need to be spending no money on no drugs. You just silly and dizzy all by yourself. Don't make the drug dealer richer. I was like, okay, that's what it was. And so I take my dizziness and my silliness and my passion and compassion, and the best thing that one of the best things that can happen to us is to have the ability to laugh. You know, when you think about laughing with somebody or about something, your whole body on the inside, everything is getting massaged. Laughter is just massaging, you know,
Well,
and
laughter is good for the soul. And you have too many
absolutely.
people who walk around with a frown, and you need to, laugh, and you need to, to make people laugh and be laughing. They both go hand in hand.
And I don't know why people are taking life so serious. They're not
Well,
coming out of this alive. I don't know what they think. They're not coming out of this alive.
nope.
You could have all the pills, potions, money, everything you want. And I'm telling you, you can't take it with you. I remember, I think he was the owner of the Dallas Mavericks. Is that the one that Mark Cuban owns?
Yeah, Mark Cuban. Yep.
Okay. The guy who owned the team before him, older guy. He had to have a double wide wheelchair. He got access to the best medical care probably in the world. I mean, because they working with them athletes. And he sat there and did not monitor his food intake, didn't do anything. Make a long story short, he ended up having both of his legs amputated
Hmm.
because he didn't want to do the work. I'm a rich man. Death don't care nothing about how rich you are.
Not
Disease
at
don't
all.
care about how cute you are. Don't
Not at
nobody
all.
care about none of that. You know, because if you don't take care of this, it will not take care of you.
All you have is one body. You can get another house, another car, another plane, but you only have one body, so you must take great care of it. I've been on this. I've been taking this Rise coffee, and I've lost about 10 pounds in the last month or so, just doing the coffee one a day.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just trying to maintain, and hold on to what little sexy I got left. I ain't got but
Okay.
2.5 tablespoons. Actually, I'm up to 3 tablespoons now, but
Okay. Okay. Wait a minute. What you taking phone numbers
I
for?
don't, I don't went
Uh-huh.
from 2.5 to 3 tablespoons now that I've lost 10 pounds, so, but again, what you
Okay.
have
Now
to
tell me
do
about that.
is
What's
keep
it called?
preventative.
The rice what?
Rise, Ryze. You
Okay.
see all
Right.
the ads on social media,
Mm-hmm.
and I decided I'm going to try it.
Mm-hmm.
And I did. And oh man, this stuff works. And
And you only have to take it once a day.
well, some people do a couple of um, you know, cups of it, but basically it's just 1 cup.
Mm-hmm.
You take 1 cup, put a scoop of it, and add some hot water, or you can do it cold.
Mm-hmm.
And I just drink it. I don't add any sugar or cream because I
Mm-hmm.
want it to do what it's supposed to do. Because some people are like, how does it taste? I don't care how it tastes. It's not horrible. It's about results for me.
And you're
Will it
not going
do
to
the
be
job?
poisoned by it.
Will it do the job? And then there are people who are getting healed from diabetes and high blood pressure and other ailments, prostate cancer. People who have like enlarged prostates,
Mm-hmm.
who have to get up a lot to go to the restroom. It's quelled that situation. So it's been working for me.
And how long
And
have you been taking it?
about a month.
Okay. And
About a month.
you feel results. You said 10 pounds in a month.
What? Look, my
I
waistline told
can't
me.
listen. Don't
Well,
be
you
pulling
can't
up your
see it
clothes
now,
in front of me. You
but
know I'm a married woman. I ain't blind. And if you're gonna do it, I want to see. I ain't got a problem with
okay. But what happened is like when I wear shorts, like I have shorts on now, and then all of a sudden my shorts are falling off of me. And then someone told me, they was like, "Oh, it looked like you lost weight," and I was like, "Let me go step on the scale." Like last week, I stepped
it.
on the scale, and I was
Mhm.
down from 216 to 206 and dropping,
Wow, that's a nice
eh,
little chunk of weight coming off.
without having to even do any working out. But what it does is
Do you work out? Do you
I do.
exercise?
I do.
Oh,
I get my little groove in. I got my little barbells over there. I don't hit the gym as often as I do, but I'll do exercise like in the
at
morning
home. Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, it's better to do the maintenance of it than to try to have to do it after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got to maintain as best you can.
So let's talk about the museums and what your vision is for not just your museum that you are putting together, but the other museums that you've already frequented. And why has this passion been so important to you?
I love history.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since I saw a woman called Moses
Mm.
with Cicely Tyson, and I got a chance to meet her one time. And when I saw that, that changed my life. And of course, Roots back in 1977. I was living in Albuquerque, New Mexico at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember asking my great grandmother the next time I saw her after Roots, I was like, "Big Mama, were you a slave?" And she said, I remember her smiling. She said, "No, she wasn't, but her grandmother was." And when I
Mm-hmm.
was in Louisiana a couple of weeks ago, I went and saw our former neighbor, Miss Emma, who on November 17th, she'll be 109 years old. And she told me that her grandmother, who was a former slave, raised her. That's remarkable to me that you have someone still living who was raised by a former slave. She said she,
But not just that. The fact that 109 years old, her mental acuity is
oh,
there.
honey
She's
child, she's
extremely
got,
cognitive.
oh, just as good as you and I. She was asking me about my
Well, I'm
mother.
not a really good marker because I can walk down the hallway and forget what the heck I'm walking down the
No,
hallway
she was
for.
asking me about my aunt, my mother, my sister, because I put my mother on the phone with her. And
Oh
so,
man.
and it was remarkable. So I want to go back. I did a short interview with her on the phone.
Mhm.
And when I was asking her, and she was telling me that her mother died when she was 10, because she was born 1915. That's 2 years after Harriet Tubman died. And that's also 3 years after the Titanic sunk. And she was a 19, 20 years old, 20,
Mhm.
like during the Great Depression. So she's seen all of that stuff. And her mind is sharp today and even getting around and everything. She just told me the only real problem is she was like, her legs ain't what they used to be, but I don't
None of ours is.
know. But
Okay.
she's still walking on her own power.
See
And,
now
and
that.
then her mental capacity was just amazing to me at 100 and almost 9 years old. So when it comes to that, it's like, look, Lord, I would love to be able to, have my mental capacity at that, just later in life because you
I'm
guys
trying to
keep
have it
doing
at
it.
75. I'm way backlogged. I told you I walked down the hallway and I'm like, okay, I came to do something. Don't know what it is. And my husband and I will sit up and we in the middle of a conversation, and the next sentence we like, okay, what was we talking about?
Yep. So
And being together for so long, we got our good body, we got that husband and wife body language and gestures, going on. And I could point at something or, put my hand up or understand. And our son, we only got one son. He said, you didn't even ask him anything, Mom. I said, what do you mean I didn't ask him anything? You pointed over there and he came back with you a cup with some ice in it. He came back with you with a bottle of water and whatever else I wanted. And you didn't say anything. He just got it when he got it. Now, see, when you like that, I was like, well, maybe, and I'm just in it to see how long we can go. Because I'm like, oh, this is just amazing. So tell us how we can get with the book and how much you plan. How long will it be before your museum comes up? That Tubman Till
Museum, the goal right now, I've identified a building or two. And so prayerfully we'll be in one of them by February for Black History Month.
Mm-hmm.
And for those who like more information, go to Tubman Till, TILL, TubmanTillMuseum.org. And if you want to give, you can do that. And also the 10th of this month, of next month, here in Orange County, we're going to be doing a concert. I have a smooth jazz concert, including my friend Monique Brown. She's the widow of Jim Brown, the football player.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I know him. Knew him very well.
And so
me and my mother were friends.
Huh?
Jim Brown and my mother were friends.
Okay, that's right. You're from Ohio, so
I'm
yeah.
from Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio. That's how we met him.
Mm-hmm. And I interviewed him a couple of times.
Yeah, and he was just a cool guy. To me, he was very kind to me. And I
That's
look at
awesome.
other people, especially famous people. How would they'll be nice to us, because we're all
Right.
pretty much on the same playing field. Well, how do they treat their true fans? And I'm a true fan. When I tell you I love you, I love you. If I don't like you, I don't like you. It has
That's
been so wonderful to talk
okay.
with you, Eric. When
And
the book
and
comes out, you got to come back and talk because this went by way too fast.
it did. That hour goes by fast. And thank you for all the people who tuned in.
Oh,
To say hi.
absolutely. And Horace, is her name Horacia
Horatio.
McCurtis?
Yes.
Okay, wait a minute. Lydia Clay said that book is a good reference with a little of careers. Great resource. She's talking about how to win friends and influence people. It has been my distinct honor and pleasure. And remember this, babies. No matter how big or tall, short or small, thick or thin, matters not what skin you're in. Everybody needs